we're going to be very careful about what we say with this, but please come back for the spoiler discussion because this is a provocative and I'm just going to say extremely stressful watch. And when it comes crashing in, boy, is it a doozy. How do you feel about Zendaya?
I still felt for her, even though some of the stuff we find out. But yeah, this is her best thing. This is her best performance. I'm just going to say it.
But we're also humans. And so when something comes out and you get this visceral reaction to it, it's hard to turn back from that. I felt ill.
Yeah.
Like I felt sick to my stomach. Hello, friends and listeners. You have another brand new episode of Watch Skip Plus. We want to be your go-to for insightful and pop-cultured movie reviews. My name is Jose, also known as Cupcake. I'm joined by my co-host, the WillDaBeast, also known as Mike. Mike, it is Easter. Happy Easter.
Same to you.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Yeah, just had a great brunch and families together, so it's nice.
Actually, wait a minute. Do Mormons celebrate Easter?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're not active Mormons, but yes, they do.
Okay, got it. Yes. Friends and listeners, if you do celebrate Easter, or even if you've had Passover, happy holidays. Speaking of happy, or maybe not so happy, what slightly depressing, unnerving, stressful film are we reviewing this week?
Yeah, well, we're reviewing the drama. And y'all are going to have to come back because most of this is really going to be discussed in the spoiler. Like, this is the type of film that if you're going to this, you need to go in super blind. Like, don't know anything. I
think it absolutely works if you do go into this completely blind. But unfortunately, I'm going to say that there has been at least 2 or 3 controversies. Maybe just 2. We're going to mention that. But yeah, we're going to be very careful about what we say with this, but please come back for the spoiler discussion because this is a provocative and, I'm just going to say extremely stressful watch. Yeah. It's going to get a lot of people talking. And I think A24 knew that, and so the trailers don't really give away what this is truly about. And when it comes crashing in, boy, is it a doozy. So
A24's marketing team, like, they really know how to take these kind of ballsy, kind of out of left field indies that have a star or two and really know how to market them. Like, most people, I don't think, knew what they were getting themselves into. And you and I
certainly didn't.
I
certainly did not. I thought, a cute rom-com. I think they're basically saying that this is the anti-rom-com, and it's absolutely true. So this is directed by Norwegian director from Oslo, Kristoffer Borgli. Now, many of you may not know Mr. Borgli, but apparently he worked in a video store for 3 or 4 years, and that's what inspired his love of film and cinema. And so many may not have seen his films. His first film was called Drib, D-R-I-B. It was kind of like a mockumentary documentary about a fake energy drink. And then he would follow that up with Sick of Myself, which was a story about relationships, contemporary art, alternate identities, what happens when one spouse becomes more popular or, famous than the other. You saw that film. What did you think of Sick of Myself?
Oh, I like it. I like his dark, bleak, cringe style humor. Imagine like the most cringiest bit of Ricky Gervais' character from the UK Office, like times a million. That's a kind of like a super awkward, cringy comedy that, it borders comedy, but it's very deep, dark and bleak. So I'm a fan of his stuff, and I love the film he did with Nick Cage. I call him like Yorgos Light because I think he's a lot like, he's not quite as
Yorgos
heavy.
Lanthimos,
He hasn't hit where Lanthimos has quite, but he is very Yorgos Light. I think he's trying to make similar observations about humanity through satirical dark lenses.
I would say that's very appropriate and apt. You mentioned 2023's Dream Scenario starring Nicolas Cage. I had not actually seen this film, and when I watched it before seeing this film, I was
I'm glad you did.
oh my God, what am I going to be in for? So, folks, if you have not seen Dream Scenario, this is that sort of weird one where, for whatever reasons, Nick Cage's professor character ends up in complete strangers' dreams. Like, he shows up in their dreams. And it progresses from sort of like, what was I doing in the dream? Absolutely nothing, just observing, to then this sort of spiral. And the film becomes this meditation on viral fame and then cancel culture. Yeah. And, I mean, Borgli's already sort of creating his own director trademarks. We're going to talk about some similarities, I think. But talk about a stressful watch, Dream Scenario. I did not know what to expect with that, and it feels very like Michel Gondry meets Ruben Östlund meets Yorgos Lanthimos, right? Now, curiously enough, Borgli was supposed to do an adaptation of Bret Easton Ellis's The Shards for HBO. He did depart the project, and now shepherding that project is Ryan Murphy. Sorry. Anyway, and then of course we come to this film. He wrote and directed this. Our DP is a gentleman named Arseny Khachaturan. He is Belarusian, done a lot of music videos, probably best known for his cinematography for Luca Guadagnino's Bones and All with Timothée Chalamet. We also reviewed that, so if you want to check out our old Watch Skip Plus episode, we definitely talked about that. And then our music is by Daniel Pemberton. Boy, he's been scoring, right? He just did the music for Project Hail Mary. And we should also mention that this is produced by Ari Aster, who, Hereditary, Midsommar, talk about all those films, and then recently Eddington, of course. Any other comments about the crew before I quickly segue into the cast?
No, this film feels so Norwegian, so it really does feel not American, even though it's a big American cast and crew. It's an interesting vibe and look to it. I like that.
Yeah, we discussed this on They Will Kill You, which was directed by Kirill Sokolov, Russian director, but it also has a very Eastern European sort of feel to it. Like, its sensibilities don't feel entirely American. And I feel the same way with this one too, despite, the well-known actors. And speaking of which, we're going to segue to that. Robert Pattinson, he has come a long way from kissing stardom, playing Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and then embracing stardom and worldwide fame through the Twilight series as glittery vampire Edward Cullen. He's done gay stuff, Little Ashes playing Salvador Dali. He's worked with David Cronenberg, Cosmopolis, Robert Eggers, The Lighthouse, where he appears to masturbate to a mermaid. I don't know, something's happening there. It's kind of crazy. But then he's also done these great indies too, right? Like The Rover with Guy Pearce. And then, of course, Mickey 17, which was great. Die My Love, which, kind of petered out. It had a lot of buzz and it just kind of, Tenet with Chris Nolan. And then, of course, The Batman, right, with Matt Reeves. How do you feel about, we should also mention the Safdie film, Good Times, right?
Good Times. And then we need to mention a film that my wife worked on that was done here with him called Damsel, directed by the brother duos that did the Sasquatch summer movie that you loved so dearly.
Oh my God. Yes.
So yes. And I've heard nothing but good things about him. Like, everyone who worked with him said he is one of the good ones. So I'm a fan. I do like, he's grown on me a bunch. And really, I think it's... Go ahead.
Do you remember those weirdo rumors where they were like, he stinks, he doesn't shower? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Like, and I imagine that, like, in this film, his hair is always kind of like weird and kind of like dirty, disheveled. That sort of reminds me of the stories I used to hear about him, about how he just kind of rolls out of bed or whatever. But
and then you see him in Cosmopolis and he just looks so good, even though he's evil and dark inside.
Yeah. And then he was in Map to the Stars too with David Cronenberg. So there you go.
Dirty.
Exactly. And then our co-lead, because your favorite phrase, you love to say this is a two-hander. Two leads, Zendaya.
Yeah.
The concessions girl at the Regal got mad at me for calling her Zendaya.
Oh yeah.
It's Zendaya.
Zendaya, you
or
gotta say it right.
I used to call her like Zendaya. Like I just like to fancy it up. But apparently her name derives from Shona. That is the Bantu language spoken by the people of Zimbabwe and Mozambique. It's from Tendai, meaning to give thanks. But obviously Zendaya, we know her. She's a Disney kid. Rocky Blue, Shake It Up. And then, of course, Casey Undercover. And then, lucky her, she's married to Tom Holland. They were in the Spider-Man movies together. And then, of course, coming to fame in Euphoria, she has a music album. She sings. She was in The Greatest Showman and singing and dancing with Zac Efron in that. And then, of course, Dune. Like, she's just all there. And then Luca Guadagnino's Challengers, which we did review also. I'll have a comment to say about her performance in Challengers versus this one. How do you feel about Zendaya? You love her?
She's grown on me. I think working with Guadagnino's stuff is where I found her like starting to get out of that teen, like I'm a Disney star. And I really didn't buy her like, hi, I'm a frumpy MJ version in Spider-Man. I don't really like the way she plays the role. It just doesn't fit the comics.
It's weird and disaffected.
Yeah.
Like I'm too cool for school, but
she's so cool and she's kind of frumpy and like in an underground artsy art school type of way. And it doesn't really work with the character. I don't feel like, but yeah, I really like her, what she's done in those Guadagnino films. And this is her best thing. This is her best performance. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. This is the best thing I've ever seen her do. She shows range. She shows that she shows the awkwardness. You just feel for her at times. And it gets into some uncomfortable, stuff. We'll get into the spoilers, but I still felt for her, even though some of the stuff we find out. But yeah, she's great in this.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there are two other co-stars who are pretty strong in this. Alana Haim plays such a radioactive bitch in this.
Holy hell.
But
I hate her.
She's
in this. She was so good at being hated. I hated the hell out of her.
She was such a bitch. But we all kind of fell in love with her in Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza, where she co-starred with, sexy butt Cooper Hoffman.
Yep. She popped up in one battle after another too.
Exactly, with Paul Thomas Anderson. She's an up-and-comer, and she's so strong in this. Holy cow.
Her band that she made with her sisters is really good. I love.
Oh, really? What's the name of her band? I had no idea.
Just her last name, Haim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's just her and her two sisters, and it's really fun, like indie pop rock. So
nice.
Good stuff.
Nice. And then the other actor, we have an actor I adore, Mamadou Athie. Believe it or not, he's Mauritanian American. But he's sort of like, I think he's crept up and he's just now starting to get big and sort of like lose the reins of the sort of like supporting roles in indie stuff. So he's been in Underwater, that great thriller with Kristen Stewart, Jurassic World Dominion. Ryan Murphy might as well directed that fucking shit. The Circle, Elemental, but then he's really come to the forefront. Kinds of Kindness, speaking of Yorgos Lanthimos, The Burial, if anybody saw that, Black Box, and then Archive 81, which was a series that's on Netflix. I love Mamadou Athie. I think he's gorgeous and he's such a great actor. Any other comments before we dive in?
No, before we dive in, did you get the trailer for the invite before this?
Yes, we did.
This reminds me of that because it's four people in an awkward situation because it's mainly these four leads that we just discussed, even though there's many more people in this than in the invite. A24, they're killing it. The way their marketing team is just, all the rest of Hollywood needs to look at what they do with these small little movies and the way they market them so well.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, You know what? I'll start with you.
Okay,
Spoiler-free thoughts on the drama. So first of all, I'm just going to read this. I'm going to read the logline from IMDb. It says, a happily engaged couple is put to the test when an unexpected turn sends their wedding week off the rails. Boy, does it go off the rails. So, Mike, spoiler-free thoughts on the drama.
As close to a spoiler as I'm going to get is that this is the reason why you do not ever play the game The Worst Thing I Ever Did.
Yeah.
That is the truth. So. That's what this movie is about. We have our four leads sitting like a week before the wedding, and they all play this game discussing things that they all have done that they consider to be the worst thing ever. And it makes us as, we see these people grow and kind of build this relationship while kind of artsy and cute, and we knew something was growing underneath the surface, a lot of mistrust. There's a lot about like European versus American like culture and sensibilities, a lot about wrapping your head around the culture here in America. I think was hard for his character. It's really interesting film, and this is really hard to talk about without spoiling the big whammy that throws everything for a hoop, the drama, as you could say. But what we have is a very good social, a psychosocial like drama that really dives deep into the importance of keeping secrets, the importance that we as people, that we don't always need to tell everyone, or everything. And sometimes I think we are in this generation where it's all about talking your trauma. It's all about telling yourself and telling everything about yourself. And I think from a European perspective, that's kind of an odd thing. And so seeing people, saying too much, which leads to a downward spiral, just allows you to see these characters go through awkward situation after awkward situation where people aren't able to trust each other. And because of different situations, all four of these characters are kind of holding awkward feelings, all because of that one game of what's the worst thing we've ever done. So for me, this is probably out of the three that I've seen, this is his best film, Borgli's best film so far. It really hits the hammer on the head as far as what it's trying to say and what it's trying to say about human connection and kind of what's going on with the younger generation dating and life. So for me, this is a definite watch. We're going to talk a lot more about this when we do the spoilered. So please jump back in to see us talk more, but go and see this movie. I definitely think it's worth it. Well acted by all four of our leads and everyone else that pops in and out of the film. It's really well edited. The music just snaps, crackles, and pops when it needs to. It reminds me of One Battle After Another, the way it kind of just drives you to the edge of your seat of uncomfortability. So this is a really good watch. I enjoyed it, and I say get out there and see it. Support this kind of filmmaking that's getting a major release, and I love that. Thanks, A24.
What about the performances? Did you think that was one stronger than the other, Pattinson or Zendaya?
Oh, I think Zendaya steals the show. I think that she by far steals the show. She's the best thing in this. And really this movie is hers to shine in, honestly. Yeah. And of course the Haim girl in this, she is, the way that she made us hate her so well shows how fucking good she is in this.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing. So, I had sort of teased this before, but I do like Zendaya. I think she's gorgeous. I think she has an energy. There is sort of a raw honesty that she showed in the HBO series Euphoria. But my concern was that, it was becoming an emotional shtick in some ways, because what she does in Euphoria came out, albeit in, sort of a more adult role in Challengers. And I didn't feel like, at least with respect to Challengers, that it was almost like she was a little miscast because she looked so young. And for her to do that sort of aggressive attitude, whiplash in Challengers, it didn't quite work. But her performance here absolutely works. And I think she's found a really good middle ground in terms of showing that sort of energy, that lovability. I'm like the kind of the girl next door, but then having it turn around and having her go inward and becoming this sort of like self-hating, like lost personality mess, right? So yeah, I agree. I think she kind of steals the show, but I think the two of them work real good together. And I had mentioned Ruben Östlund before. You talked about Yorgos Lanthimos. I think Lanthimos does some kind of crazy stuff, but the reason why this film immediately made me think of Ruben Östlund is because the film Force Majeure, which this is almost identical to that in some ways, because there is something human, and we would, in the spoiler section, we'll definitely get to this, but contemporary wise, growing up with the kinds of things that the youth are now today, this feels a lot like Force Majeure, right? But it's that sort of like that dark comedy of like manners and, do you really quote unquote know somebody, especially the person that you're dating or that you're married to or that you're in love with? And I love that you touched on the fact that, with the rise of social media and Facebook, I think you're right. There is, I think a lot of us want to be honest and we want to be candid and not hide between masks or motivations or things like that. But at some point you have to realize, you don't have to voice every thought that goes through your head. You don't have to tell everybody your deepest, darkest secrets. But I think what's so telling or great about this movie is that we want to be that for other people. We want to be open and non-judgmental, but we're also humans. And so when something comes out and you get this visceral reaction to it, it's hard to turn back from that. And so if you look back at Dream Scenario, which ostensibly talked about like cancel culture, I mean, before we had social media and cancel culture, we kind of were canceling each other when we found out little things about, our friends or whatever. Oh, I don't agree with that. I can't hang out with that person. And then even, this person supports Trump. Forget it. They're out of my life. And it's sort of like, well, wait a minute. Before you knew they supported Trump, you love them because of all these other things. Does that go away because of that? And so this is a lot of contemporary hot button issues, but it's also basic human stuff, like can you unring a bell? And I just have to tell you, this movie was so incredibly stressful for me to watch. I felt ill. Like I felt sick to my stomach.
During the whole last 20 minutes, I was like looking through my fingers like I was watching a Terrifier movie. I don't know why, but I was so stressed out. I
know. And then the crazy thing about this is that, I actually ran into a coworker at this screening, but we were texting and she just was kind of like, all I could think about after this movie is what would I do in this situation? Yeah. That's what the best cinema tries to do. It's provocative and it makes you think. Quite honestly, I want this to get Oscar nominated. I think it's that strong of a film.
The screenplay for sure, and the music,
definitely,
the editing,
definitely.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The flair of this reminds me of a lot of the foreign films that were nominated this year that were just so thought provoking about like human emotions. Yeah, everybody, you've got to get this. You've got to see this, and Look, it's up against Super Mario. It's also up against, what's the other film?
I think those are the two big. That's it, really, is this. And
Super Mario. Are the two big ones. But just really, really quickly, folks, the controversy that sort of surrounded this, apparently now, before I talk about this, I'll just preface this by saying the age of consent in Norway is 16 years old. Okay. But they do frown upon, obviously, you don't want a 32-year-old or, what ended up happening is that our director, Kristoffer Borgli, he wrote an article in a magazine where he was 27 and he was dating a 16-year-old. And that article has now resurfaced given, the controversy over this film. And then the other controversy is that there is a I'll talk about in the spoiler, but there is a not-for-profit that deals with the subject matter of what the twist is here or what the reveal is. And they have taken A24 to task by saying you haven't sufficiently warned the audience about seeing something like this. Now, do I think they spoiled it and they're being kind of rotten about it? Yeah, I think they are. And some of what the not-for-profit is saying, they're saying things like, well, why doesn't the director or the company stage like, town halls to discuss it? That's not what we do with movies, folks, okay? The movie is the art.
Exactly.
You see it, you take your feelings about it, you talk about it. There's no responsibility on a filmmaker to be like, hey, we're going to tackle this subject, come join our open house or a discussion about it. Did somebody tell Gaspar Noé to have like a workshop on consent before Irreversible?
No.
Okay.
No. The thing about this movie that really is going to hit home is it's a lot about intent versus action. A lot of that is so important in this. And that, I think, is what sets it above other films that deal with this kind of material, is that this is not about the action of it. It's about the intention. And I love that about it. And the fact that it was intended all of a sudden becomes worse than what the Haim girls' worst thing was. I could not believe that was so dusted under the rug.
So that's kind of the other amazing thing that makes this so contemporary also is, there's right and wrong, and then there's gray. But in society now, we're in this whole this wrong is not as bad as this wrong, so I'm going to look the other way and excuse it. But wrong is still wrong, right? So, wow, this movie it's a tornado of craziness, and
it is. And you guys need to go see it. Go see this and then come back in 2 days so we can talk more spoilers. And I'm guessing it's a watch for me, and I'm guessing
oh my God, it's a hard watch. And you know what? Bring your friends, folks. If you double date, bring your other couple friends and hang out at a restaurant afterwards and have a discussion about this and possibly destroy your relationships. So there you go.
It's not a date movie.
I don't know. I think my husband and I got a really great discussion out of it.
Well,
of course,
good.
But just know that if you're going to converse about this film, don't go where the film goes. Some things should be, some doors should not be walked through. Okay. So if you love us, folks, be sure to subscribe, spread the word about us. Please leave your comments. We love Lou and Jared commenting all the time, but we want to hear some of your other voices as well. Additionally, Tyler from Raiders of the Podcast, thank you so much for your awesome shout out to us on your Instagram story. We love you. We got to get you back on here. 2 times is not enough. But speaking of other podcasts, if you love us, you'll love our Podfathers, The Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema and Not a Bomb. Also, the OG's The Night of the Living podcast. And of course, our YouTube brothers, the Two Johns, and now for something a little bit different, Wild Dream Twitch, which is basically the streaming of Wild Dream podcasts. We love those guys, Daniel and David. And Death by DVD with Harry. Also, you'll love the Raiders of the Podcast, who we just talked about. Backlook Cinema podcast with Zoe. Caliber 9 from Outer Space. Speaking of which, Rob's due for another guest appearance. We might need to get him on. Feminine Critique, Talk Without Rhythm with Garo. Mike, parting thoughts other than some things you just don't tell your spouse.
No. Right now, T is watching this movie. I cannot wait till you tell me what you think about it, because I think this is right up your alley. So again, T, he's
not quite a donkey punch, but kind of there.
He likes the material this is about. He sees all these films. So anyways, yes, just get out there and support film. There's a lot more than just Mario right now. I know that it's stripped everything. There's a great AI doc that was at Sundance. There's a lot of stuff out there, so you don't just need to feel stuck watching Mario Brothers. So get out there and see the drama. Go see the AI doc. Go see whatever. There's Vietnamese films at my theater too, so you can go out and see movies. So get out and enjoy.
Absolutely. And as always, folks, be kind, be open, be vulnerable. Don't overshare. That's where the art is. Yeah. All right, folks. See you on the other side.